Today we preview the 23rd ranked and two-time reigning conference champion Cincinnati Bearcats season opener at the 19th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks. Coming up, my thoughts on the game, keys to the game, where I think this matchup will be decided, and my score prediction. All of that coming up on Locked On Bearcats.
Our Locked On Bearcats, your daily podcast on the Cincinnati Bearcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Here we go. It is game day. Well, game day is tomorrow, but still it's game day in my book. Welcome to Locked On Bearcats, your first listen every day. Alex Frank here with you. We are presented today by BetOnline. BetOnline.net has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Don't forget to subscribe to our Locked On Bearcats YouTube channel. We are rolling 485 subscribers and counting. Follow us too to get an alert every time we drop a new episode. So here's what stands out to me and what's on the line tomorrow. It's not just returning to the college football playoff this year, if that's a possibility, which I think it is slightly. It's not that the Bearcats have won 22 straight regular season games or conference championship games. It's not the fact that they've won 8 straight games on the road. It's the fact that they could. And what's on the line tomorrow is that their 45 consecutive week streak of being in the top 25 could be gone by the end of tomorrow afternoon. That's what's standing out to me tomorrow. And as far as what's most on, the Cincinnati Bearcats have been ranked, in the top 25 for 45 consecutive weeks, which is a remarkable achievement for a program that for the better part of 2 years hit rock bottom. And that's a testament to Luke Fickell. And in an offseason full of change, one thing that hasn't is the national perception of the Bearcats as one of the top 25 teams in college football. The Associated Press still thinks that after losing 9 players to the NFL draft, that Cincinnati is still one of the best 25 teams in the country. That means that they are in the same poll rankings as Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame, and every other team in the top 25, including the Arkansas Razorbacks, who the Bearcats play tomorrow. But lose this game, you're out of the top 25. Not only that, but it might even make it harder to get back to a New Year's Six Bowl, which to me should be a goal this season, or should be an expectation for me, for you, and for the entire fan base of the University of Cincinnati Bearcats football program. Because if the expectation and baseline is, well, the Bearcats should at least win a conference championship, and I think they will, that should come with it. Because I don't think the winner of the MAC or the Sun Belt or Conference USA or what's the other group of 5? The Mountain West, Man, I can't wait to go to the Big 12. I don't think the winners of those conferences are going to quite be where Cincinnati is. I just don't. One, because they don't have the pedigree that Cincinnati has from the last few years. 2, because the American is probably the best group of 5 conference. And 3, Cincinnati plays a pretty dang tough schedule. It's not as tough as last year, but you still go on the road to Arkansas. You're going to an SEC. You're going on the road to an SEC school. Win that game and win the other games, plus the conference championship. Try and tell me the Bearcats don't deserve to go to the college football playoff. Now, even if the Bearcats lose this game and they went out the rest of the way and go 12-1, yeah, they should be in a New Year's Six Bowl. If the Bearcats could lose 42-0 to Ohio State in 2019, and somehow with 2 losses, not 1, but 2, be in a position heading in championship Saturday to, if they won, they'd probably go to a New Year's Six Bowl. If they were in a position then this year, if they're 11-1, they should be in that same position this year. Because the conference is perhaps better and their schedule is better. Because not only do they have Arkansas, but they have a Big Ten opponent in Indiana, plus SMU and UCF are on the road, and you could play a very, very good Houston team in the conference championship who very well might be undefeated. But again, what's on the line this week is keeping your top 25 ranking. And here's something I think about. Remember 3 years ago, Mick Cronin leaves as head coach of the basketball program. And instantly the Bearcats went from being a perennial top 25 team to just another college basketball program. It didn't feel right. And everybody, including myself, had these high expectations with John Brandon. We thought the Bearcats were going to take that next step. In March, they never even made the tournament. We don't know if they would have made it in 2020. They sure as heck didn't make it in 2021. But what I do know is this. It didn't feel good to just be another team in college basketball. To just be, well, they might make the tournament, they might not. That's not Cincinnati basketball. And the certainty and the stability that the program had under Mick Cronin was suddenly gone. They weren't a top 25 team. So they lose their season opener to Ohio State. All right, fine. But then they lose games to Bowling Green, Colgate, and Iowa, and Tulane, and Central Florida, and UConn. Yeah, that wasn't what we were used to. And we've gotten used to the last 4 years, the Bearcats dominating teams, they should, and stealing games against teams that maybe are better than them. They weren't as good as UCF in 2019, even though they beat them. Or I should say they weren't nearly as talented. Not nearly as talented. They weren't as talented as UCF was. They weren't as good as Georgia in 2020. Still took them to the wire and should have won that game. They weren't as good as Alabama last year. That game was still very winnable at the end of the third quarter. Just think about that for a minute. So that's what's on the line to me. Because when the Bearcats drop out of the top 25, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like a fall from grace. Because I remember 2010, the year after the Bearcats went 12-0 and were number 3 in the country. And the next year they went 4-8. Talk about a far cry, a fall from grace from 2009. You don't want that this year. Now, I don't think it will be like that this year because the head coach is in place. There are great players at every position, or really good players at every position. There's depth at every position. And at the end of the day, there's a winning culture in place. There is now a level of expectation within this program. Now, I'm not saying that means Cincinnati's going to walk into Arkansas and win. More on that in this show later on. It's not going to be easy, I'm telling you right now. But what I am telling you is this. What I am telling you is, if the Bearcats do lose this game, which the likelihood of that happening is very good, unfortunately. If the Bearcats lose this game, they're going to drop out of the top 25. It's going to feel weird to some of you. It's going to feel weird to me. It's going to feel weird to maybe to the players and the head coach. And Luke Fickell's going to say, well, we don't care about that. They do. He just says that to not, stir up, other stories potentially in the media. So that's what I think about in this game. Not the fact that they're putting 22 straight regular season wins or 8 straight road wins since the loss to Memphis in 2019. It's not that they, are beginning their quest for a third straight conference championship. That really starts to me October 1st in Tulsa, Oklahoma. What matters to me is you're putting a streak of 45 consecutive weeks of being in the top 25 on the line. And chances are it's going to go up in smoke. Now, if it doesn't, then okay. That's another conversation that I'd like to have on Saturday night. But I'm telling you right now, that's what stands out to me as far as what's on the line. Not your playoff hopes, not your quest for a third straight championship, not defending 22 straight regular season wins, not who's going to be the starting quarterback and what happens. It's 45 straight weeks of being in the top 25. Having a number next to your name could end this week. All right, coming up, we're going to get to, and by the way, this is the first season opener for the Bearcats at a ranked opponent since 2004 when they played Ohio State. How about that? And here's your opportunity to keep all the momentum that you built from last year and the previous seasons and this past offseason on Saturday. Coming up, my keys to the game highlighted by slowing down the freight train that's KJ Jefferson, Arkansas's quarterback. We'll get into it after a word from Nitsa. So, here's the situation. Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? Please don't be that. What's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? Yeah, that's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone else around you. Talk about a buzzkill. So stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Simply put, drive high, you get a DUI. Obviously, we know that the biggest factor to me at least in this game, and I think for you too listening to this, KJ Jefferson, Arkansas's quarterback, is the biggest factor in this game. Arkansas, though, it's not just him, is a very experienced team. They're coming off their most successful season in a really long time, I think since 2010. First time they ended the season in the college football playoff top 25. First time they're ranked to start a season in football since 1974. That was just after Richard Nixon resigned from presidency. They returned their leading passer and rusher from last year. That's KJ Jefferson. They have an All-American linebacker, an All-American safety, and 4 of their 5 starters returning on the offensive line. I'm not saying this means the Bearcats are inexperienced. What I am saying is you add all that experience that Arkansas has, and you're walking into a tough environment in the SEC. Good luck. Arkansas, to me, is the Cincinnati of the SEC like 2019, because just as much as we feel the momentum that Cincinnati has, Arkansas feels the momentum, their fan base feels the momentum they have. Why? Because they now see, oh, Sam Pittman is the answer. We have a team that might be able to compete for an SEC West title. That game against Alabama, circled that on the calendar. Well, this game matters first because it's the first game on the schedule. So, they're coming off a surprise season like Cincinnati was in 2018. They have aspirations to potentially win a division title and get to the SEC championship. That's what Cincinnati had in 2019. The Bearcats ultimately did that. Arkansas, maybe they'll do that this year. But the first key to the game for me, obviously you got to slow down KJ Jefferson. Here's some startling statistics that stood out to me. KJ Jefferson has started 15 games. Arkansas has scored 30-plus points in 9 of those 15 starts. 6 starts have come against AP top 20 teams. It's not like KJ Jefferson has never played a really good team. So this is just another good team he's playing. You have to wrap him up the first chance you get. If you don't, he gets going. Understand, though, he's going to make plays. You're not going to be able to make him one-dimensional. I mean, this is like a bigger version of Lamar Jackson you're playing. He's going to make some plays. He's going to get, a 20-yard run. He's going to make a big throw down the field. How you respond to that as a defense if you're Cincinnati is what's going to determine the outcome of this game. To me, you just have to limit the plays he's going to make. Key number 2, act like you belong. The Bearcats are in the top 25 for a reason. They're in the top 25 because the national media still views them as a top 25 team despite losing 9 NFL draft picks. And the Bearcats have faced tough teams in years past. Indiana, Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State, Central Florida when they were in their heyday, at least in this era of UCF football. The Bearcats should not be intimidated by the environment they're going to walk into tomorrow. Show that you belong on the same field as Arkansas. What you cannot have is a repeat of 2019 when you went to Ohio State, and clearly by the end of the second quarter, the Bearcats did not belong on the same field as Ohio State, and it showed. This game, though, the culture is better. The Bearcats program has undergone some incredibly rigorous challenges. Luke Fickell's a better head coach. The program is more stable. There is a lot in place for this program than when they walked into Columbus on September 7th of 2019. I somehow remember that. September 7th, 2019. There's a lot more stability. What's that the name? I think. Yeah. There's a lot more stability now within this program than there was then. Finally, key number 3, aggressive play calling. You will not win this game 24-13 like you did in Notre Dame last year. You simply won't. It's going to take at least 30. Now that's large. Now that's due to both Arkansas's offense and it's due to the fact that Arkansas knows they can actually target the whole field. I mean, it's not like they don't have. It's not like they have the limitation of, well, we can't throw to this side of the field where Sauce Gardner is. Arkansas is going to be able to do that this year. You have to get guys out in space. Call design quarterback runs for Ben Bryant. Get Josh Wiley and Leonard Taylor some catch and runs. Utilize Trey Tucker's speed. Maybe put him on a shallow crossing route. Maybe call some jet sweeps. Get guys touches early. Get guys out in space. Run some wide receiver screens. Run Corey Kiner on a running back screen out of the backfield, a wheel route, whatever. You have to be aggressive with your play calling. You're not going to be able to have Ben Bryant sit back in the pocket and chuck the ball around, even though he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks last year in college football. He played his games in the Mid-American. This is the SEC we're talking about. This is the 19th ranked team in the country in the Arkansas Razorbacks. I guarantee you this game will not be like any game Ben Bryant's ever played in, and I guarantee you it'll be different than the game that the Bearcats walked into at Notre Dame. Up next, where I think this game will be decided, plus my score prediction. All that coming up after a word from two of our sponsors. Luke Fickell constantly says that this program, Cincinnati, is driven through the offensive and defensive lines. Absolutely, to the core, that is true. In this game, it's going to be Arkansas's offensive line against Cincinnati's defensive line that's going to determine the outcome of this game. Just like the Cotton Bowl, Alabama's offensive line won the battle at the line of scrimmage from the very first possession. The first possession for Alabama, 11 plays, 10 of them were running plays. Arkansas is going to come out with a very similar game plan, and if they don't, I'll be shocked. But Cincinnati's defensive line has some experience. Malik Van, Jawan Briggs, Jabari Taylor are experienced. But they are now the guys who are going to be determining whether or not the Bearcats win games. And against Arkansas, who has 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen back, Cincinnati has defensive linemen who are going to have to step up as leaders this year. This is the first time on Saturday that it will be required. If the Bearcats win this game, it'll be because they won the battle at the line of scrimmage, which will not be an easy task. Plain and simple. Now, score prediction. You know me, I love the Bearcats, love every team in Cincinnati. But the one thing that I am not, and I never will be, because I can't stand those Ohio State fans who are, I am not a homer. Absolutely not. I am a realistic fan. I may be the biggest Bearcats fan you'll ever meet, but I will tell you how it is. I will keep it real for you. The Cincinnati Bearcats are not winning this game. And that's not a knock on them. It's the fact that they are playing Arkansas, who is wicked good, who very well could give Alabama a run for their money in the SEC West. Very well could. And if they don't, they might go to a New Year's Six Bowl. They're that good. Cincinnati's going to have a lot of success this season. I'm not saying they won't. But in this game, first game, after losing 9 starters to the NFL draft, and considering Arkansas has 4 500-yard rushers from last year returning, their running game is going to wear Cincinnati's defense down. Arkansas's run game is going to seal this game in the fourth quarter. I think this game is close at halftime. I think it's close at the end of the third quarter. But as the sun sets in Fayetteville, the running game will continue to get stronger and stronger. The fourth quarter will belong to Arkansas. I see Arkansas winning this game 38-21. Now, after the game, what you can expect, a 90-second recap of the game from me on our YouTube channel, all over social media, on Twitter. 10 o'clock later that night, a recap of the game, full recap of the game. Sunday at 8, film review and takeaways. And then we're off until Tuesday when we do Turning Point Tuesday. This is going to be fun. This is going to be really fun. Also tomorrow, but also later today, rather, bonus content. My Bengals and NFL season preview will be up today by 3. So a lot on the line. This is going to be fun. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Frankie_90 with 2 N's, NNATI. Follow me on Instagram, AlexFrank9_, or email me at alex3frank@gmail.com. Speaking of the NFL, after you make Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, go check out the Ultimate Pro Football Preview 2022 for your second listen. It's an 8-episode extravaganza to get you ready for the NFL season. The local team experts of the Locked On Podcast Network, plus a betting angle from Lee Sterling of Locked On Bets, all combining into one ultimate NFL preview. Search for Ultimate Pro Football Preview 2022 on your Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. For Locked On Bearcats, I'm Alex Frank. You can follow me on Twitter at Frankie_90 with 2 N's, NNATI. You can follow me on Instagram, AlexFrank9_, or email me at alex3frank@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our Locked On Bearcats YouTube channel, up to 485 subscribers and counting. Follow us too to get an alert every time we drop a new episode, which is going to happen quite a bit coming up. For the Locked On Bearcats podcast, I'm Alex Frank. Tomorrow it begins. It begins tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Please, though, stay safe, stay healthy. If you know you're going out and you're going to be drinking during the game, please either walk or or designate a driver or call an Uber. Seriously, please. This is a fun time. Clifton's going to be rocking tomorrow. The new Vine Street watch party is going to be amazing, but please stay safe so you can make Locked On Bearcats continue to make it your first listen every day. But enjoy the game tomorrow. Have fun, whether you're in Fayetteville, Clifton, Cincinnati, wherever. For Locked On Bearcats, I'm Alex Frank. Have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you right after the game tomorrow night here on Locked On Bearcats.